What's up, Juventus? We've got a ton to discuss today in the news around Juventus. Jadon Sancho is set to become the second signing for Juventus. A major update there. Hilal starts negotiations with Dusan Vlahovic. And what's Juve's strategy to land the dream signing of Osimhen? We've got all of that. And David Hancko, now or never for a move to Juventus. Douglas Luiz has a team in Italy starting to show some interest. And we've got new names added to the transfer list for Juventus. We're going to go through it all together right now. I'm Berto. This is the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus. It's July 7th. Let's rock with the news. We kick things off with David Hancko. Apparently, there are only a couple options for him. One is to move to Saudi Arabia, which has a couple of clubs showing interest in his services. The other is to join Juventus, who is still interested in the player and has never lost sight of him and always been monitoring his status. Apparently, the price tag could be 30 million euros. So now or never for a move to Juve. Otherwise, Hancko really only has interest out of Saudi Arabia. Should we sign David Hancko? Hit me in the comments. Now, when we get to the attack, a lot of news around the attack and Juventus. First up, yesterday we get news from L'Equipe that Hilal is showing interest in Dusan Vlahovic and has come forward with negotiations and started negotiations with Dusan Vlahovic. Juventus, their intent is to sell the player. We heard yesterday that they have zero intentions on giving discounts or even helping with the salary. The nice thing about this is if Dusan Vlahovic does open up to a move to Saudi Arabia, the salary will not be an issue. The issue with these Saudi clubs when they come in for players is the price that they're willing to give to the selling clubs. One way or another, I don't see Juve making this move final without taking a hit somewhere, either on the sale price or on the salary. But again, let's see. The big thing here is, will Dusan Vlahovic open up to a move to Saudi Arabia? Let's see, everybody. Now, when we get to Juve and Osimhen, apparently their strategy, as being listed by the media today, is to wait until the release clause expires on Osimhen, which is actually not far away. However, this is the media playing games, claiming that Juve has asked Osimhen to wait until the release clause expires. That is not going to be true because the release clause has never mattered to Juventus in any way, shape, or form. Because Napoli didn't even put that in place for Italian clubs, especially Juventus. The big thing here is, where there is some truth to it, is Juve's gonna wait if they can and drag this on so that Napoli feels the strain and feels the pressure of Osimhen going into that final contract year. So a bit of truth there, but the media likes to twist it and claim that we're asking him to wait until it expires. Not the case. We're probably staying there in very tight, close contact just to wait to see what happens on that price and how much strain Napoli feels. There are media outlets in Napoli claiming that the parties between Napoli and Osimhen are going to start renegotiating and maybe he could stay and remain. So all eyes on the Osimhen situation. Meanwhile, when it comes to Kolo Muani today, as part of those media reports, he's listed as Plan B to Victor Osimhen. We'll see, everybody. And when it comes to Jadon Sancho, major update. Yesterday we were hearing, look out for this move to get finalized because there were a ton of contacts yesterday and they are extremely close. Today we get another update. Fabrizio Romano coming in claiming Sancho has given priority to Juventus. He hasn't wiped out all the other offers or all the other interest. However, priority is now with Juventus. Juventus and Manchester United and even the player are all working to clear the final hurdle, which is the player's salary. So Sancho to Juventus could be the second signing of the Mercado for Juve. How do you feel about it? Hit me in the comments. It is extremely close, everybody. Now, a lot have already posted on social media claiming goodbye, Chico. Nice to meet you. But Hold on a second, because the reports claim that if Juve move Imbangula and Nico Gonzalez, that is actually their plan, and that it is not out of the question to try and have Chico Conceição and Jadon Sancho at Juventus. How do you feel about that? Hit me in the comments. And it has to be stated, Tudor has spoken highly of Chico Conceição throughout his entire time and period at Juventus so far. The coach wants Chico Conceição to remain at Juventus, as well as Chico wants to stay in Turin. Let's see. Now, when we get to the midfield, Wilfried Ndidi has emerged as a possible candidate for Juventus in the midfield. He's carrying a price tag of 10.5 million euros. It is a cheap option for Juventus, and there are other clubs interested in the player, obviously, due to that price tag that is set on him. How do you feel about Ndidi? Hit me in the comments. Meanwhile, we got to make some room if we're bringing in another midfielder. Douglas Luiz, always on the outs at Juventus. Today, we have an Italian side emerging as interest in the midfielder, and that is Fabregas's Como. They are showing interest in the player for Juventus. They apparently do not care if it is in Italy, if it is in England. They just need the numbers to be where they need on Douglas Luiz. That might not be a problem because he has a whole lot of interest. So could Douglas Luiz go to Como? I'm going to just stick to my guns here on my personal belief. I think he wants to go back to England, and I don't think he's going to go to Como on his will. Let's see, though. Now, when we get to Cambiasso, a big contradiction today in everything we've been hearing, and that is from Mirko Di Natale claiming there are no current negotiations or discussions between Juventus and Cambiasso for a renewal. But he stresses this does not mean that Juve is putting him on the transfer list or wants to sell him. They are just simply not discussing a renewal. Yesterday, we heard Gatti, Cambiasso, and Yildiz renewals were going to be announced very soon. But Mirko contradicts it, claiming there are no negotiations with Cambiasso. As far as the sale, there are also no interested clubs emerging right now for Cambiasso's signature. If Juve was to say a goodbye, Mirko Di Natale claims it would take 50 to 60, somewhere in that range, for them to consider. But they are not actively selling him, and there are no negotiations, according to Mirko Di Natale. However, a couple players that do find themselves on the transfer list, apparently Weston McKennie, yet again, is on the transfer list for Juventus. We heard yesterday about the contract negotiations being stalled out due to agent fees. He finds himself, according to the reports today, on the transfer list yet again. This has got to be, what, 4 years running? At least 3 years running. Let's see. For Lloyd Kelly, he is also on the transfer list, placed there by Juventus. And on that note, we wrap up today's news. You know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the AJC Army. Let's mix it up. What do you think about everything going down today? Jadon Sancho, the second signing for Juve. How do you feel about it? Let's mix it up. And of course, I'm back tomorrow with another edition. Till then, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.